Hey, Jay here. We have a Gas Gas. This is an EX350. We're going to talk about Gas Gas bikes right now. A lot of guys are wondering about these bikes. Inventory, as you know, if you've been looking at bikes, used or new, it's really tough to find bikes right now. So a lot of the KTM and Husqvarna models have been selling and maybe sold out, depending on where you live. So there's a lot of Gas Gas bikes. We're going to talk a little bit about these Gas Gas bikes. We've spent a decent amount of time now on this EX350. We have some photos of Spencer riding it, and I rode it out in Utah on a really cool ride with Dirt Rider over 3 days. We rode this thing in a wide range of different terrain, and really good bike. Now, so the big question is what is Gas Gas and why is it different than KTM, Husqvarna, all that. So those that don't know, this bike is basically, right now, is basically the same as a KTM or Husqvarna, and very much closer to the KTM model. It has the same subframe, plastic, those types. The seat fits. You can put a KTM seat right on here. Boom, tank, all that stuff's the same as a comparable KTM. So why do they do this? We don't totally know the reasons why. We have different theories about it, but this red looks amazing. I'm thinking that there's guys that want red bikes, want white bikes, want orange bikes. They can appeal to guys on that front. Also different dealership networks throughout the country. Also maybe different tax things what do they call the imports, when they bring a bike into the country. So they're bringing in different lower quantities of bikes. So I'm sure all that stuff plays a factor in why they have these other brands now. So they bought the Gas Gas name, which those bikes weren't that. There was a lot of Gas Gas over the years in the US, but not that prominent. We can't safely say they weren't nearly as popular as KTMs or now the Husqvarna models. So these Gas Gas models, I've already had a few friends buy these. My friend John just bought this one. They're a bit cheaper. The plan, from what I can tell, is to be like $1,000 cheaper than the comparable KTM or Husqvarna model. So we'll see how that plays out. Also, from what I understand, the plan is that this bike will be a year or two behind the KTM and Husqvarna models as far as updates. Right now, this thing's on par. It's got the same engine, same suspension specs and so forth, same main key pieces as a current KTM. So, but when that goes forward, when the KTMs are going to get updated, say in 23 or so, whenever that is, when they get their updates to their engine, chances are this bike's going to be behind a year or two. So that's kind of their plan. It can stay behind a little bit, going to be a little bit cheaper. That's kind of the plan, to have something like that. Obviously, it's as far as the race bikes go, you see Barsha riding the thing. He's riding the same basic bike as Cooper Webb, on their race bike platform, just it's red. So as far as these bikes, and let's talk a little bit about Gas Gases. I got a little cheat sheet here. For those that don't know, I have a cheat sheet that I made. I started this a few years back with which Husqvarna models were the same. So a KTM SX model on a Husky would be a TC. That's the SX and TC are the two-stroke motocross bikes, and on this one it's called an MC, which MC for motorcycle, whatever. And they use this same MC on their four-stroke version, the SXF version, and on the Husqvarna it would be an FC. They call it an MC. And then on the XC models, the XC, and it would be a TX. Those are the models that we prefer, that tranny. On the trail bikes, it'd be an EX300. They just keep the EX. And then this bike is also an EX, and that would be the same as an XCF or an FX on the KTM or Husky line. And then XCW or TE models it'd be an EC as well. And on this EC would be more of the with the wide ratio tranny headlight, that model. And they don't have any dual sport models yet. I'm sure it's probably going to come. So that helps you out. First of all, let's talk a little bit about, so basically that takes care of it. Real quick, on the motocross models, they come with a cheaper tire on them. This model right here comes with good Dunlop tires. It comes with the good brakes. The Brembo brakes and clutch and all those pieces are all the same Brembo pieces. Now, it's we're seeing the different things, the EC, and also it'd be the EX version 300. That one has the Brake Tech brakes and clutch pieces. So, but it comes with a Dunlop tires as well, but it has those different pieces. The motocross one comes with Maxxis tires and that. So you have to look at, those are the only little things we're seeing different. This bike right here, right now, has basically everything the same, except the the brakes are all the same. On this bike, what else is different, Rado? That's about it.
Triple clamps.
So oh yes, that's a big thing. And all the gas models, they run a cast clamp. A cast clamp, you torque it to a different spec than you have to look on your manual. So it gets a little tighter than the other spec. We're actually going to test these clamps on our KTM. We think for most riders, especially non-pro riders, this is going to be a better feel in the front end than the billet clamps. They don't look as cool. Guys like Rado don't like that, but it's still pretty cool. They are going to have a good feel. I wouldn't be too scared about these clamps. So you do lose a little bit. These clamps are on par with everything that is coming, that all the Japanese bikes come with, are cast clamps, stock. Just KTM's been running billet clamps for years. Everybody's gotten spoiled running those. Still has the same air fork. This bike has is the what I call it, the I forgot already on my cheat sheet. Except this is an EX350. This EX, it doesn't come with handguards, hand shields, which it should, but it doesn't because it's cheaper. I think that's where they're, and it doesn't come with a skid plate. As an off-road bike, it should come with a skid plate, and those, I would be buying those straight away if you're gonna do any type of off-road riding with it. It does come with a kickstand, the same as the KTM kickstands, which you do need to look after a little bit. 18-inch rear wheel, and this one has the wide ratio tranny, has the 6 gear. And we like that gear spacing on this bike. We were talking about it today at the track, how at Glen Helen, 2nd and 3rd gear is all you need on this thing, and it works really well on the track. So we really like the gear ratios on this bike. So this bike overall, and I wouldn't be scared of any of the other KTM models if you're looking at it. This is one of my most popular bikes. When I say any of the other models that this Gas falls into in the KTM line, I wouldn't be scared to get those. And this bike is probably one of my favorite bikes out of all of them, is a 350 XCF, which this is the EX350 version. So a great bike. We got some good, photos of Spencer worked through here riding it out in the dunes, and we got some GoPro of Rado.
So I found myself being in a different gear than usually on my straight motocross bike. I'm in the 3rd gear more often. So 3rd, 4, where normally I will be 2nd, 3rd. Not everywhere, but some of the sections I noticed that. Let's go outside here. Woo! I hit the neutral there. This thing is so smooth.
Good bike. I think everybody's loving the red. We didn't care for the stock bar bends are very low, just like the KTM, very low and feel wide because they're very straight. So it's a kind of an annoying feeling. We're going to swap those out and get some ODI champ bars on there most likely like we like. So we'll swap those out and get a better feel so you feel more comfortable with the handlebars. That's one thing I think most people aren't going to care for, that stock bend. but for whatever reason they spec'd it out with that. So hopefully that helps you out. We'll see what Rado thinks next.
Alright, so 2021 Gas Gas 350 EX350F off-road race bike. How did it feel on the track? It felt amazing. Maybe you can see from the video, guys. I'm not sure if I just had a really good day today, but I was hitting everything the way it was supposed to be done. Almost everything. Like I had like 4 laps that were super clean. Every jump was where it was supposed to be, and I felt really good. Landing where I'm supposed to be landing, hitting my turns, inside, outside, switching, and I was just flowing really well today. And I think this bike helped a lot. I changed the bars, so this feels more like my bike now. And just after like 2 laps, I synced with the bike and I felt really good, and then I could just flow. I went maybe on like 3-4 motos, each like 20 minutes, and it was really good, effortless. I didn't get an arm pump, I didn't get tired. I actually stopped because I wanted to drink the water. Well, usually I get tired, but this time on this bike, it was really good. I had really great time today riding, and bike felt great. Suspension did really good, but I was riding well today, and I was hitting the the landings they are supposed to be done, always on the downhill. I didn't come short, I didn't case anything today. So if you ride that way, the suspension is amazing. But maybe since I'm a little bit heavier, 195, so maybe if I'm short or if I case something, then probably wouldn't be the best. I think it's dialed more for off-road riding, but if you are a wet rider and you hit this wet track every now and then with this bike, I think it can do well. You don't have to have 2 bikes. You don't have to have different setting for a suspension. If you are the average rider, like maybe a little bit lighter than myself, maybe around 170, 160, I don't see a reason why this bike cannot be the one bike, do it all for you. Do the trails, do the track, do the technical things. We're gonna still do more technical riding. We'll take it on the trails, but here on the track at Kauai wet track, this bike did amazing. I love the power. Actually, the transmission has a little bit different gearing there, different spacing. So I think first, second they are close together. So I wasn't in the second gear very much. I think I shift the third gear a little bit earlier than what I would normally do on my motocross bike. And then I stayed in that third gear a little bit longer, and then I was shifting between third and fourth. Sometimes I had to shift down to second, but I wouldn't stay long in the second gear. I would just pull a little bit and then shift back to third, and then even up some these step ups jumps where normally I would just carry second gear. On this bike I was able to just hit also third and then carry the third up the hill and clear those jumps. So it's a little bit different transmission. I had to get a little bit used to that, but after like 3-4 laps I felt really this is my bike, and I was just sync with the bike, and I was flowing really nicely on the track today. I had a great time. So guys, if you are looking for one bike that can do it all, this might be the one. This might be the one. It's super light, has like 221 pounds or something like that, which is incredible for off-road race bike with a starter and the kickstand, 18-inch rear wheel. It's lighter than some of the 2-stroke bikes. I think that's really good. And you can take it on a track. You don't need to worry that it will throw you to the side, or there will be too much bike for you. It feels really good in your hands, but then engine is pretty good, and the sound with this stock, how it pulls and everything, I don't think you even need to go to something else. I mean, we have FMF, we are going to test it, and maybe if you do FMF and Jamie at Twisted, he can do the different mapping. I think we can get more power out of it, and it will feel better than what it is now. But even now, 100% stock, it feels really good. And I want to go riding more, but it's 3 p.m. end of the day. The track is a little bit dry, so I have to come next week. Alright, my friends, well, that's about it for today. As I said, love the bike so far. Red color rules. Alright guys, that's about it for today. And don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you guys later.